The Australian Open was almost a different tennis universe when Craig Tiley took over in 2006.
The event that we're delivering is an international event.
Attendance has more than doubled on Tiley's watch to 1.3 million. Tennis Australia revenue has soared. Things are good, he says, as he leaves for the CEO role at the United States Tennis Association.
The organisation, Tennis Australia, is in the best shape it's ever been.
Tiley has remade the Australian Open into a festival of the sport. Influential tennis journalist Ben Rothenberg says Tiley has shifted international perceptions of Australia's slam.
I think that Craig Tiley did a ton to get Australian Open on closer to equal footing with the other three majors than anyone had before. At most metrics, the parity has been much, much closer than I think Australian Open fans or directors, administrators of the past could have ever expected them to be.
Great stuff. Here we go. Watch the ball.
Former player and coach Louise Fleming now promotes social connection through racket sports. Craig Tiley, she says, brought unique skills to turn the Australian Open into a powerhouse.
He's an amazing networker. He's a great communicator, and he has every tennis player's best interests, and he gets on so well with all of those, particularly the top players.
The Australian Open is the financial engine that powers Tennis Australia.
They raise something like 600, 700 million, a lot of money, and that goes back into participation, creating champions, and just tennis in general, growing the sport.
Some say not enough of that money is trickling down. Destiny Ieva is retiring from the sport at just 25.
I would probably say maybe let's cool it on upgrading AO and try and, help the players a bit more. I mean, they made so much money from all the sales of tickets and everyone attending AO, so I feel like that should be put into more grassroots and clubs.
There's no trickle down from the Australian Open. Want to go, come on, rip.
In Brisbane, coach Damon Luch has worked for more than 20 years with upcoming players, including last year's 12 and under national clay court champion. He says Australia's player development prospects are as low now as he's ever seen.
You look at our performance at junior Grand Slams over the last 5 years. We have barely got kids in the draws, and the kids that we do have in the draws are getting wild cards, and they are getting chomped on first round by kids who are meant to be around the same standard from really, really small pecking order countries.
He says the junior pathway in Australia is more limited than ever, with more young top tennis prospects heading to Europe for training. Damon Luch says Craig Tiley leaves a complicated legacy.
If you're talking about his role as the Australian Open tournament director, it's stellar. It's top shelf. In regards to development, there is no legacy for him to leave, because when he started, we had far more depth, far better tournament calendaring, far more coaches working.
I feel like I see a lot more kids going to, Spain, Europe, anywhere, to those big academies to develop their game, and it's a lot closer as well to travel to different countries and play more tournaments that are a higher level. I feel like a lot of kids, especially I felt the same thing growing up, where we find out we're not as good as we are in Australia compared to overseas.
Hold the racket down. Yes, there you go.
But Tennis Australia strongly refutes those criticisms.
Development ebbs and flows, there's no doubt about that. And, we're always going to see fluctuations in numbers.
Director of Player Development Nicole Kriz says players like Maya Joint, now in the top 30, will soon be joined by more promising players developed with the help of Tennis Australia.
And there are a number of athletes that have just moved into that top 100, and on the back of those athletes, there's a really strong culture and cohort of emerging young pros that we are going to see transition into that top 100.
Kriz says Craig Tiley has left Australia's tennis development pipeline in very good shape.
Where we're at right now is we're at a very exciting stage in development, and we're always going to look to build on that.
Now, Craig Tiley will be building in the U.S., overseeing not only the U.S. Open, but also player development. Tiley will have his work cut out for him.
The U.S. Open doesn't hold quite the same prominence in the U.S. landscape. It's a bigger country. It's a more crowded landscape. Tennis is not quite as high on the sports pecking order in the US as it is in Australia. But yeah, he's gonna, if he can bring some of that same energy and enthusiasm, parts of it can translate for sure.